Surprise, surprise, Wicked upsets evangelical Christians. Look, to be honest though, it's not very difficult to upset evangelical Christians. They love nothing more than being upset and outraged. And I actually love the fact that the movie Wicked is upsetting them. I'm thinking specifically of fundamentalist right wing American evangelical Christians. That specific group, of which unfortunately there appear to be quite a large number. Of course, there aren't actually as many as there appear to be. They're just a very noisy, very vocal group. And it so happens that many of them out there on various YouTube channels are making a lot of noise about the movie Wicked. This is their latest target. I haven't seen the movie Wicked, neither of most of these evangelical Christians, incidentally. I haven't seen the movie, or part one as it is. Many years ago, I did see the stage production and I loved it. I particularly liked the way it subverted the story of the Wizard of Oz, turning the villain, the evil, wicked witch of the West, into the heroine, Elphaba. More recently, I read the original book of Wicked by Gregory Maguire, and the first sequel also, Son of a Witch. I also intend to read the other two sequels. The book, incidentally, is quite different from the stage show in many significant respects, but I'm not going to go into that very much today. The outrage of these evangelical Christians is based on three things. As I mentioned before, none of those whose reactions I've seen have actually seen the movie or read the book, which is quite typical and explains why, at least in part, their reactions are so misguided. Now, the three things that most upset them are: one, the title, Wicked; two, the theme of witchcraft; and three, what they perceive as the gay agenda. They are adamant, of course, that they would never watch a movie called Wicked, which so clearly, even from its title, outlines its agenda. Any movie that's actually called Wicked must, of course, be wicked. It probably goes without saying that these evangelical commentators have no concept at all, none at all, of irony. They wouldn't know irony if it hit them in the face, in the form of an actual iron. They would almost certainly think that Federico Fellini's classic movie La Dolce Vita was actually about a wonderful, sweet life, assuming they'd ever actually heard of Federico Fellini, that they knew any Italian, that they actually knew there was a language called Italian, or indeed that there was any other language other than American English. They couldn't possibly understand that the life depicted in that movie was anything but actually sweet, because they have no concept of irony. Let's not get started on a movie called Goodfellas. The title Wicked is used ironically. Elphaba is called the Wicked Witch of the West by those who want to discredit, marginalise and disenfranchise her. Her sister, in the book anyway, Nessa Rose, is called the Wicked Witch of the East, ironically. And ironically in this case, because in fact she's pretty much the equivalent of an evangelical Christian within the context of the world of Oz. The movie is not about wickedness. It's not promoting wickedness. But what the hell, it's called Wicked, right? So it must be promoting wickedness. Actually, I take that back. The book and the stage show and the movie, as far as I know, is about wickedness. It's about the evils of fascism and the marginalisation and dehumanisation of particular groups of people, sentient beings. The Wizard of Oz is a fascist dictator. Elphaba is opposed to him. She's appalled by his agenda. She's appalled by what he does, particularly the way he treats self-conscious animals with an uppercase. These are sentient beings that he tries to eliminate or change into animals with a lowercase. The good witch Glinda is not quite as disturbed by this as Elphaba, which is why it's Elphaba who is regarded as an enemy of the state and not Glinda. And of course, Elphaba does not conform either in terms of her appearance, she happens to be green, of course, or in terms of her behaviour, in her adherence to the social norms. And so she herself is marginalised. She is labelled as wicked. I don't think the evangelical commentators are aware of any of this, of course. The movie called Wicked simply must be wicked. The second theme that upsets the evangelicals is, of course, the theme of magic, of witchcraft. There is indeed magic and witchcraft in these books. Elphaba herself, incidentally, doesn't identify as a witch. Again, this is a title attributed to her by her enemies and not one that she claims for herself. Note that my comments are mainly based on the book, as I haven't seen the movie and my memory of the stage show is a little bit sketchy. But the problem here is that these evangelicals, just as they have absolutely no understanding of irony, also have no understanding of the concept of fiction. They don't seem to understand that someone like Gregory Maguire, who wrote these books, or L. Frank Baum, the author of the original Wizard of Oz, or J.K. Rowling, J.R.R. Tolkien, they don't understand how any of these authors could write a work of fiction about magic, but not actually believe in magic, not think it's a real thing. The same way that H.G. Wells could write a book about a Martian invasion of Earth without actually having to believe in Martians, or that Kenneth Grahame could write a book about a sentient animal community, The Wind in the Willows, without having to believe that such animals actually exist. These evangelical Christians don't understand the first thing about fiction, about creativity, imagination, metaphor, allegory, which I suppose is also why they are completely unable to understand the Bible in anything but a literal, factual sense. Finally, there's the suggestion of non-normative sexual behaviour. Evangelicals can't cope with even a hint of this, of course. It turns them apoplectic. I understand that the same-sex attraction between Elphaba and Glinda is little more than hinted at in the movie. It's a little more obvious in the book, at least from Elphaba's point of view. However, Glinda plays quite a small role in the book. It's most definitely Elphaba's story. But same-sex relationships are much more explicit in the second book, though not between Elphaba and Glinda. Incidentally, I won't spoil the ending of the book in case you intend to read it, except to say that it's quite different from the musical. If these evangelical Christians actually did ever read the book, but I mean, do they read anything other than the Bible or what they identify as Christian literature? Well, they would indeed be outraged. Not because of magic or same-sex relationships. Well, no, to be fair, they would probably be outraged by that still. But they should be more outraged by the fact that the characters most similar to them, who believe in the one true God and are filled with evangelical zeal, like the Wicked Witch of the East, in fact, and her and Elphaba's father, that these characters are not depicted favourably, much as their equivalent of the Gospels are not treated very favourably there either. I wonder, will it ever dawn on you evangelical Christians one day that you're actually the bad guys in this story?